Hello everybody, my name is Christian Quick, and welcome back to another video. Now this is only a discussion video, so if you want to skip it you can, but we are going to be discussing stuff about resources, assets, and data, how they're all written in JavaScript, and stuff of that sort. So, if I were to give myself the block that we have made, /give at s, and then let's give myself that block, you can tell it's going to be a pretty fat block because the game does not know what size it is, the game does not know what it's supposed to look like in my inventory or if I were to place it. It just has no idea about any of these things. So that is all going to come down to resources, and because a resource holds a lot of functions and data, it also holds all the looks of everything. So let's take a look at how to get into all that. And because what we're going to need is we're going to need a resource folder, or not even necessarily a resource folder. We actually we already have one, and the resources only contain assets and data, really. But the thing is, I mean, you don't normally come with a data, but you do have an assets because it wants to have the mod ID have a picture, because everything in your assets is all of your, just what everything looks like. Well, all of your data, even though there's not a folder here, we'll eventually make one, is all of your block processing and your block like functions. So a lot of things that they do and extra informations that they hold, groupings, stuff like that. They are all put in these resource folders, and your resource folder is nothing like your Java folder. Your Java folder is Java written because it runs in Java. Your resource folder is actually written in a different coding language known as JavaScript. Now, Java and JavaScript, although they have very similar names, are coded very differently, and we'll have to take a look at that when we get into it. But how do I know where to reference all of these assets and datas? So you can go down to your external libraries. I personally don't like doing this, so I'll show you a better way. And you go down until you see this net.fabric MC yarn, and then you got to go up to where it says Minecraft merged project. That's where it's going to have all of your assets and all your data. You don't have to worry about the .com or the net or the, well, your net is basically all the code stuff, but we have that here. Your net is basically all that. But if we take away for a moment and we'll put it to the side, I actually have made a folder that I always do this on the side, and I'll show you how we can get that. So I personally haven't made a 1.20.1 folder like before, so we'll have to make one. If I try and did it before, so let's go into %app data %. And then we're going to go into our .minecraft, and then you want to go into something, you scroll down until you see versions. It's generally in alphabetical order. And then you can see that I don't have a 1.20. Oh, wait, I do have a 1.20.1. The difference is, if I click on it, it's only going to have a JSON, but it does not have a jar file. But if I go into 1.20, it does have a jar file. So we're going to need 1.20.1's jar file. But how do I get it? This is really easy. All we have to do is go into our Minecraft launcher. And if you already have it, good, then you can just kind of, go over to the part. But this is only going to take a couple seconds, because literally all you have to do is load your Minecraft version in the version you're looking for. So the fabric loader does not count. You need to do it in when it's like either latest release, or you'll have to make a release in the installations if you're looking for a particular release and you want to look at that code. And right now it is preparing because it needs to prepare. Oh, and there it is. It needs to download the jar file. So it needs to download those files for me to load the game. Once it is nice and loaded, and it's in 1.20.1, I can now go into my, let's try to do that again, %app data %. And then I can go into my .minecraft, and then I can go into my versions, go into 1.20.1, and now we have the jar file because it downloaded it. So we actually don't need this anymore because we don't actually need to access the world. But what we do need to do is we're just going to copy this onto our desktop, and then we can close out of it. And then what we're going to do is we are going to we're gonna have to change the name, and then you're gonna go to .jar, change it to .zip, hit enter. It might say, hey, might become unusable, but you're gonna hit yes because it's a zip file. I know what a zip file is. If you call it the wrong name, yeah, you can break it. Like, I can't turn this into a PNG file. It's you can't do that. But let's extract all, and this is going to take a fat minute. Yeah, 21,340 files, and the bigger the updates get, the more stuff that they're going to have. So these files are going to get bigger, and it's because of these stupid class things. But with all that in mind, we can just skip to where it ends here, and then we can continue from there. All right, here we go. It is nice and downloaded, and it has all those classes that we extra stuff. So let's click on this, and actually let's rename this folder to just like, let's just say Z. It doesn't really matter actually. And then let's make a new folder. And we're going to call this the 1.21. Wait, no, 1.20.1. That one was really confusing. And when we go in here, let's only move the assets in here. And then we're also going to be moving all of the data in here. So that is both things that we really want to like take a look at. Now, obviously, I mean, it's going to be a little while before we look at the data because that's all like post-processing stuff. But beyond that, all right. So now we have our 1.21 folder. We can now delete our Z. It's going to take a second. That's all there. And then we can also delete the zip. And now we have a 1.21 folder. We can close out of that. And if we click on here, we now have all of our reference assets and data types. So if we go in here, there's Minecraft, realms, textures, GUI, realms, and then you have all this stuff. You can look at all this fancy stuff. You can actually personally change these textures if you wanted to, which is funny enough if you like did an override. But here we got atlases. Oh, yeah, I guess. But this is mainly, so even if a block state is written in JavaScript, which kind of looks like this, if you haven't seen it before, it's just basically, it all just looks like a TXT file. There isn't any big words, there isn't any parameters, there's no methods. It's just everything is inside of these little curly brackets. And then it basically just calls for something. It asks for the specifications, and then it's going to ask for the model. That model in its model folder is going to point to a texture. So everything in the assets points to a texture in the end. And then we have a whole texture file, and here is everything in Minecraft that has a texture. Now, we're only going to use this as a, quotes, reference. If you actually want to override Minecraft stuff, you can, but we'll get into that later. All you just need to know is you have your reference points, so every time we make something, this is how we are going to be going over it. So they have all their block textures, and then we can go through all of it. So not only do we have this as a reference, so that if we make textures, we can actually make textures inspired by Minecraft by just clicking and dragging. We can look whatever any block. So if let's say I want a cooler diamond block, I can look up, if I spell it correctly, diamond, and they'll give me all of the diamond variants that come up. So that is pretty cool. But I can also, it's not even just that. Color map, effects, entities, environments, and then entities you can get into specific, conduit, and then you have all the, this uses meta files, but that's okay. We'll learn about those too. But that is everything in assets, and then we also have stuff in data. This is not something we're going to be looking for a long time, but we'll get into this for a while. Right now we're just focusing on assets because this is how everything looks. So right now our block looks like that purple and black checkerboard, and eventually we're going to have to fix that. And so there's a couple things that we're going to look at. There's a couple things we're going to have to look at, but I don't know if you want it to look a certain way, so I'm not going to explain in this video how it is. But every block is going to need a block state, model, and texture, but we'll get into that too in the next video. I'm trying not to do the next video, but that's practically all you need to know. Written in JavaScript, we'll kind of get used to it. We'll go into how things point from one to the next, and then how you can make custom this, make custom that, make custom this. So everything here is easily customizable. But that's really all you need to know. And we have our reference folder, which is very important. So that is going to practically cover everything everything you need to know about the resource folder. It's written in JavaScript. Assets is everything when everything looks, and data is everything that's post-processing. So if you have all that in mind, like I said, this is just a I don't know what you would call it, a talking video. Just a I said it earlier, but I forgot what the word was. But that's gonna wrap up this video. So if you have any questions, you can ask me down in the comments below. But that's gonna be it. So thank you guys so much for watching, and without further ado,